I'm glad that we could come together today on National Cancer Survivors Day, a day that we celebrate actual survivors, not just people who played one on a television show. So you guys are the heroes of the day today, and honestly, every day here. I know that this is a really tough time, especially for people who are lung cancer survivors because of the dangers with COVID-19 and everything going on. But that makes it even more important now to come together, to have things to look forward to, like this, because you guys are the only people who can understand what each other are going through right now. We need to continue to come together as a unit to provide the support that other people might not be able to provide, because they don't understand the challenges that each one of you face as somebody who has gone through or is currently going through lung cancer. So even though we can't get together in person, I think it's even more important than ever that we stay connected virtually. And so I'm thankful to the Lung Cancer Initiative for bringing us all together today so that we can have this gathering and hopefully many more in the future. We see hope in each other more than ever. We have more people than ever living with lung cancer and surviving. So I'm optimistic that as research improves and conditions improve for this disease, that we'll have even more people in these calls. I mean, honestly, there need to be more people in these calls. It's so wonderful to have all of you here today, but lung cancer, as you guys well know, kills more people than the next top 3 cancer killers combined. And we want more survivors. We want more people surviving this disease that can come together to be your support system so that you don't have to go through this alone. And it's another reason why it's so important to hang on and stay tight with the people that are in this room. We inspire each other to keep fighting. How many people do you guys know that have woken up on a random day and said, you know what, today I am going to be an advocate for lung cancer? If they haven't been touched by the disease, if they haven't had it themselves, if they haven't lost a loved one or had a loved one that had the disease, then most people, I would say, are pretty unlikely to say, you know what, this is my cause. And so the way that we can, the Black Lives Matter movement that has so many people now are finally starting to get behind, is showing us that you can get people who aren't necessarily directly affected. I mean, for the first time, there's a lot of white people that are even starting to say, hey, this is an issue that matters. And so what can we learn from that as a community to inspire other people that haven't yet been touched by lung cancer, even though everybody can and everybody should have this realization that it is a disease that can affect every single person? How can we inspire those people to get behind our cause and to right some of the injustice that has happened on this disease in terms of the amount of funding that has been dedicated to lung cancer as opposed to other diseases that might not kill as many people, for example? And the way that I think that we do that, the way that I think that we get people to care about all of you, about my mom, about this disease, and about doing more to prevent it so that other people don't have to go through what you guys have been through and what our family has been through, is by sharing our stories, by letting them know that we exist. We are people with dreams and lives, with things to look forward to, with families that we love, that love us. And so that's what I try to do in terms of telling my mom's story. My mom and I would always watch Survivor together. My whole family, it was just one of those things that would bring our family even closer together than it already was. And it seems kind of silly, it's just a TV show. But for us, it was one of those things. Even when I went to college, I would call home every week and we would talk about the new season of Survivor. So when when I first applied, they contacted me and they asked me to apply with a family member because they were doing a family season of the show. I applied with my mom, and we came very close to getting on the show together. And at the time, she would have been the third oldest woman in the history of the show, and she passed every health check that you needed to go on the show when she was 58 years old. And then when she was 59, just before she turned 60, she was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, shortly after being cleared to go play Survivor. And it was around the same time that I finally got the call where they said, now's the time and we want you to come play Survivor. And ultimately, it was my mom was the one that said, now is the time, I want you to go. Because she understood that even during our most difficult challenges, we need things to look forward to. We need hope on the horizon, reasons that we continue to live. Why do we live? We live for incredible moments. And for us, one of those incredible moments would be watching Klein, one of us, on our favorite television show. And so I went out to not just win Survivor for myself, but also to bring as much joy as I possibly could back to my mom so that she had something to be excited about even during the most difficult times. And I think that's a real challenge for all of us right now. If we're stuck at home, if we're limited in what we can do, we need to push ourselves even harder to stay connected and to find those things that excite us, that we're passionate about, that don't have anything to do necessarily with lung cancer, that we can rally around and say, okay, this is what we love to do. We're going to keep doing it as much as we can, and we're going to do it with our families and the people who love us the most. Now is the time to be rallying around family, just like we did when we had an opportunity for one of us to be on Survivor. My mom ended up passing away from lung cancer, but I know that my time on Survivor, fulfilling that shared family dream, filled her with more joy and life and laughter than I ever could have just by staying at home and feeling sorry for ourselves. So that is the story of my mom and how she continued to live at 100% despite all of her obstacles. And each one of you has one of those stories as well. Just the fact that you're even here and sharing yourselves with everybody else is another notch on your belt for being that person that is sharing your life and your love and your laughter with the people around you. And those stories that you share of your family members, of yourself overcoming obstacles, of reaching for things that you're passionate about in your life, those are the key to moving the needle on this disease. People ultimately, I genuinely believe that when it comes down to it, people care about people, but they have to understand them. They have to know them. They have to experience them and be able to communicate with them. That's some of the challenges that we're seeing right now is people are not, the two sides are not listening to each other. We need to listen to each other and understand each other. And that's how we will accept that your lives matter. If we learn each other's stories, if we listen to each other and we care about other people, which I believe that people do if they give themselves the opportunity to listen to each other, then that is how we can move the needle on this disease. We can appeal to people's sense of justice. It's not right what happens with lung cancer. How many people get the disease, that there's this stigma that makes us the sort of redheaded stepchild of the cancer world. It doesn't matter if you smoked or if you didn't smoke. Nobody deserves lung cancer. Nobody deserves to pass away from lung cancer. And so we have to step up and fight for every single person. And it's a burden that is not fair. Because if you have lung cancer, you already have the burden of being the person to have to go through the disease. Now you have the additional burden of being responsible for every future person that might get this disease, because they don't know yet that they need to be advocates for the disease. I had a lot of misconceptions about lung cancer, and I wasn't an advocate for lung cancer before it directly impacted me. And that's the case for 99.9% of people. And so the burden then is shifted to the people who already have the burden of having to go through the disease, of being the ones to champion the cause and to move us forward so that other families, so that we can relieve the burden for other families that don't even know right now how badly they're going to need our help. So this is an important time for all of us. Even before COVID-19, all of us were in this together. There isn't another choice in terms of what we have to do. We are better prepared than anyone to support each other because that's what we've always had to do. No one else will do that for us. No one here probably chose to become a lung cancer advocate. We do it because others won't or can't, and we need each other now more than ever to get through an even scarier time than we've ever had to face as people who are facing lung cancer and as caretakers and family members. And so today, we celebrate staying connected. We celebrate spending time with our families, leaning on each other to stay strong, reaching out to each other, such as through the survivor lunches that the Lung Cancer Initiative organizes, which you guys should join and be a part of if you haven't already. No one can better understand what you're going through than each other. And ultimately, it's strong communities that build strong individuals. There's a study that I forget where the study was, but I just read a study that showed that a hill seems less steep when you're climbing it next to a friend. So when you're lonely, scared, you're not alone. This community is your tribe that will lift you up when you fall and make you strong when you feel weak. My mom may have passed away, but my commitment to this community has not. We are all in this together, and today we celebrate the life of each and every one of you, and I'm grateful to be a part of it.